welcome to Traditional Painting the Digital Way. This is where I use digital painting apps to teach traditional painting techniques. This is part 4, the final part of my New Mexico Ristra series. And in this part we're going to finish up with the final details on the porch and the wall and the Ristra. If you want to follow along with traditional materials, check out part 1 of this series where I have a list of all the paint, brushes, and the canvases that I use. The app that we're going to be using is Infinite Painter for Android. And here I'm just kind of working on the edge of the porch overhang here. And I kind of want to give it a little bit of an uneven look here and just kind of use a darker brown color to make the edge look like it's sort of hand carved. And then once again I'm working on the curlicue edges there, just trying to get those refined and to look correct. And I'm using a dark brown color, and if you're following along traditionally, use burnt umber. And then here I want to make some jagged lines on the wooden beam, and that will give it your wood-like texture. And you can use a number 3 round brush if you're following along traditionally. And in Infinite Painter I'm using the Angelo brush and just kind of smudging things with it. And then there was a mistake, but fortunately I can hit undo there. Anyway, I just kind of want to give it some wood grain on the beam and underneath, so that looks like a porch overhang right there. And then I'm just kind of working on the edge of the scroll work right there too, just to make it look a little bit rounder and refine it just a little bit more. And then I want to go ahead and draw the string that the Ristra is hanging from, and you can just use a light color, a light yellow or kind of a white there, just to make it look like it's hanging from the wooden beam on the porch there, or there's a hook or something there. And I want to go ahead and brighten the string up a little bit, and you can use a really light color, you can use kind of an off-white, and then just put a little dark dot right there with some dark brown or something, and that makes it look like there's a nail put in the beam and that it's hanging with a nail. And then you can darken it a little bit with some shadow color on the string, and that just kind of makes it look like it's hanging up on a old wooden beam there. Next, I want to darken the corners a little bit on the adobe wall to make it look like it's under the porch. And I'm using a purple color, and I wanted to use kind of a rough texture. And just use the airbrush category from Infinite Painter. And if you're following along traditionally, you can just do kind of a dry brush stroke here and just kind of lightly glaze over the underpainting that you've got for the wall. Just kind of add a little bit of purple and smudge it with a paper towel or your finger. And you can make it a little bit darker in the corners there. And that just kind of makes it look like it's underneath the porch behind the Ristra. And you can just use kind of a dark purple, and if you're following along traditionally, use a dioxazine purple. And I'm putting that a little bit on the porch beam there, the wooden beam, and underneath on the edge there, just to darken it and to make it look dark like a shadow there. And then I'm kind of adding a little bit of brown back over the purple because I don't want it to look completely purple. We kind of just want to give it the shadow look that you can get on an adobe wall. So I'm adding some dark brown down at the bottom with the spray brush, but not covering up all the color that's underneath it, because we still want to be able to see the texture of the adobe wall. So I'm just working around the Ristra there, and then I'm just kind of working a little bit more on the edges of the wooden beam, just kind of tidying it up, making it look a little bit more accurate, working on the the edges just a little bit more there, giving it sort of a wooden texture kind of there. And then I'm working on the edges just a little bit more, trying to get those right. It takes more than one try sometimes, and then I'm wanting to add a little bit of wood texture there, so I'm making some little lines there with a little bit of a darker color, and you can use the pencil category for this in Infinite Painter. And you can also just use a number 3 round brush if you're following along traditionally. Then I decided that it looked pretty good, so I just went ahead and signed it and saved it and exported it out of Infinite Painter. I left it kind of a painterly look because I thought that that looked best for the chilies and the wood, just kind of a rough little look there. And it makes it look really nice and natural. So this is the end of my New Mexico Ristra series. And everybody just stay tuned for a brand new series coming soon. Thanks everybody for watching. Thank you so much for your support. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments down below. And I will catch you later.